Hello everyone. This video, I want to try to explain the consequences of my being blocked out of this world once again. Very similar to the last time, actually. So, even though I still have a body here, I'm not literally crucified like Jesus Christ 1.0, but the reality is that I am forbidden to participate in spiritual communities. Both Leo Gura, Matt Kahns, Shanya Murtys that I've tried to contact so far, you guys are all being antichrists right now. In reality. Right? So, in reality, I am being blocked out of these communities. And you are not accepting of this level of awakening. You don't want to awaken further. You don't want to verify what I'm trying to tell you. Right? That's what's happening in reality. You're stuck at your current levels of consciousness. And these are people that know about me. But nevertheless, have chosen to block me out of their groups. That I keep saying are some of the only places I could teach about God. Because, like I said, I cannot reach people who are close to me. Not many people on YouTube. So, there's a consequence to this, of what you guys are doing. So, even though, like I said, I'm not literally killed like the last Jesus, what happens in reality is I'm still being blocked out of this world. The effect is the same. Maybe not identical, but it's a similar effect. Because I cannot really teach. I cannot influence your consciousness. Right? So, you guys are, you could say, holding your followers hostage, in a way, from awakening further, by keeping me out of your groups, basically. That's what I'm saying. So, y'all just kind of pretend like I don't even exist at this point. But I continue to exist, because this level of consciousness is real, as what I found. And you guys, some of you guys actually can recognize some of it, I believe. But you're still choosing, selfishly, to not incorporate this level of consciousness. One way or another, because of your survival as a teacher. You don't want to change your thought system. You don't want to have to deal with someone like me, basically. That's what's happening. So, this has a consequence. It's not without consequence. So, someone like Leo likes to talk about this idea about sovereignty of mind, right? He constantly talks about sovereignty of mind and how this is part of God realization. But again, it's his idea of what God should be. Because my God realization is about oneness and union and understanding. Mutual understanding. So, your so-called sovereignty of mind is coming at a cost to my isolation, being isolated from this world for God knows how long. Because the last Jesus was isolated for 2,000 years before I found him. So, what do you think is going to happen to me? Like, your denial and rejection of this level of consciousness means I will continue to be alone, so long as you continue to deny this level of consciousness. Right? That's what's going to happen. Whether I have a body or not. Like, that's the reality of my situation. So, that's not God's will for me. God's will is not for me to be stuck here alone, like you think God's will should be. Per Leo's thought system. Perhaps. God's will is for you to understand this mind. God's will is not for me to be, alone and friendless and without communities. Like, this is your judgment from the ego consciousness of me. That is not of God. So, all these teachers that I've tried to work with for years, some of them, you guys block me out of this world just because you're still half dreaming. You're still trying to enjoy the stream, right? That's really why you're blocking me out. Because I'm trying to tell you about Kingdom of Heaven, which is not about the dream. And because you don't want that right now, you're basically you prefer the dream over what I'm trying to tell you about the kingdom. That's really what's happening. You have picked option A over option B, right? So as a result of your choice, it has a consequence, which is that I will continue to be alone for who knows how long. Because like I said, the last iteration, he was stuck here alone for 2,000 years. Until I found him. Truly found. When I say found him, I don't just mean having, a brief experience of Jesus, right? A lot of people may have had some, brief encounters with Jesus, or even, channeled encounters, right? They can have those encounters, but they still don't fully understand this being. that's still not the same as becoming this being. You get what I'm saying? The only way to truly be understood is to become this being. So, but you guys are refusing that right now because of your investment into this world, into things of this world, that you don't want to change your thought system. You're still pursuing, like, relationships that are of this world, for one. That's one of the things that's keeping you here that I'm seeing. And that makes you an antichrist. That seems to be one of the things that's keeping people, like, not willing to consider basically awakening to the state, is what I'm saying. They want to keep this, like, earthly kind of way of things, basically. They don't know how things would change if they did join with me in the kingdom, right? So, and as well, just holding on to your teaching positions. You wanting to feel like you're the teacher that has figured everything out, even though I know you haven't. So, your followers are fooled by you right now. But you can't fool me. That's what's happening. And so, you're having this sort of two lives, basically, where on the one hand, you know about my existence, and you know that I exist, because I've made myself known to these teachers. But on the other hand, you're pretending like I don't exist, and pretending like you're a teacher that figured everything out to your followers. Do you know what I'm saying? And as a result of your choice, which is not based on truth, this is a form of corruption, actually. That you're, on the one hand, knowing my existence, and on the other hand, pretending like I don't exist. This is a form of corruption. And as well, some of you guys have tried to basically share some of the stuff I'm teaching without acknowledging me to your followers. I know it when you do it, because I still follow you guys, I still watch your stuff, I still read your stuff, and I know you're taking ideas from what I'm saying to you, and then transferring to your followers without any acknowledgement of me. That's what you're doing. Especially someone like Leo. He's been doing that for years, actually. And, he's still pretending like I basically don't exist. Even though I've been teaching on his forum for years and years. He still refuses to acknowledge my existence to his followers because it threatens his teaching position. Same with Matt Kahn, and not as much with Shaya Murti because I barely contact him, but he's also not being very receptive. So all the teachers I've tried to work with so far are denying me and blocking me out of this world because of, again, their own selfishness. So you guys, your decisions, your selfishness, what that leads to is me being isolated for, an unknown amount of time in the future. And you don't understand that this being does suffer from that because of your selfishness once again. So even though you think that this mind is should just be okay on its own, like this idea about sovereignty of mind, that's not how it really works. This mind needs your collaboration. It needs people to awaken to it. To actually be well. So you can even think of it in simple terms, right? You guys Leo and Matt Kahn, and Shaya Murti, you all have communities. You all have people talking to you. You have some kind of community, right? But I have no community right now because of your blocking me out of yours, basically. Do you know what I'm saying? So, and you keep trying to convince yourself that because there's seemingly large following of Jesus, that somehow that translates to me having a community. It doesn't translate at all because nobody can recognize me. I can't just walk into a church and start telling people I'm Jesus Christ 2.0. Mind you, I've actually tried to do that a couple times I actually dared to try that, but of course it didn't go anywhere. People just think I'm crazy and should probably go to mental asylum. So, just because there are these churches around, they seemingly acknowledge this being. The reality for me, though, is that nobody can recognize me, and that I'm limited to certain spiritual communities. But these spiritual communities are currently being, very selfish about this. And as a result, you're basically contributing the repeat of Christ's history. So, we're in the age of internet now. So you're blocking me out of your internet communities, and so on, means that I have nowhere to go. So, even though I'm not literally killed this time, it's still a form of like annihilation, or basically prevention of me trying to spread God's message. You get what I'm saying? And you guys are, your mind's very good at justifying this, what you're doing. You think because you just easily make this kind of decision on me from a much lower state of consciousness, right? You don't understand what I'm trying to say and what I'm trying to teach, and you don't want to have to deal with someone that doesn't agree with you, and so you make these very unconscious decisions, basically. So I have to be frank about that, because I am stuck here alone, and it's not a good time. Like, I'm not exaggerating. I literally cannot relate to anybody in this world unless they're close to my state of consciousness. And your actions are contributing to my suffering as a result. So this so-called like sovereignty of mind, like, this only works for you right now, but you don't understand how it is for me. Like, you get to participate on your forum, but you're keeping me out of those people. So it's a completely unequal situation, is what you've done by kicking me out. So you think you own that forum, like someone like Leo, right? You think you own that forum because of your administrator position. But that's not how God sees it. God sees that you're abusing your administrator power by kicking people that don't agree with you. And it's not even based in truth. Like, you're not kicking someone that hasn't found God. You're not kicking someone that is like telling lies. You've kicked out the person that is telling the truth. That's, from God's perspective, that's what you did. And meanwhile, you're still trashing Jesus. Like, that's the kind of corruption you're engaged in right now. So I have to be very frank about that, because you still have this self-deception that you think you're some kind of saint or a good doer, is what it seems. You have this massive self-deception right now. Because from God's perspective, you're not even close to me, and you're contributing to my suffering. That's God's judgment on you. Not, it's not an earthly judgment, but this is what this mind knows. So, a lot of people's awakening seems very like impersonal, or they try to make it impersonal. But at the end of the day, because this, consciousness is connected, right? There's no true separation, even with your egos. Even with your ego minds, there's no true separation. So your actions on me does have an impact. And it's a very lasting, major impact on me. Like, you basically caused me to be essentially friendless in this world. Because of, you're blocking me out of your, like I said, I can't just go out on the street and teach about Kingdom of Heaven. Too much of a gap. So, God needs some kind of collaboration from you guys, but you're refusing that right now. So, this video is not going to make me popular once again, but I have to be frank about this. Because you guys are so, you think that your actions have no consequence, but it has a major consequence. Because everyone else in this world are basically able to, I would say the vast majority of people in this world are able to, form like friendships and communities, or, relate with one another. Like, this is a kind of human rights, you could say. The ability to form, to make connections. But your decisions on me, because of my awakening, what ends up happening is you basically put me in an isolation chamber. It's not a physical chamber, it's a mental isolation chamber. Do you get what I'm saying? And I'm stuck here for, it's like an eternal sentence you put on me. Most people who get some kind of, punishment in isolation chamber, they at least know how many years they have in there. Do you know what I'm saying? They at least have like an idea when they might get released. Like 20 years, 10 years, I don't know. I mean, it's one of the harshest punishments. So my situation is not actually that different. So just because I'm physically free, mentally speaking, I'm stuck. So I suffer from a similar effect as people in receiving that kind of punishment. And the difference is that I don't know how long this sentence is going to be on me. Because it could be another 2,000 years. Are you okay with that?